To understand the process of removing zeros from a country's currency, it's important to dive into both the reasons for and the implications of such a move. In this case, we are looking at Iraq, where the discussion around deleting zeros from the dinar is resurfacing. According to experts like Al-Mawsumi, this strategy is typically employed by countries facing high inflation, where the value of their paper currency has significantly depreciated. In such situations, the currency's face value is so low that it becomes cumbersome for daily transactions and accounting. By removing zeros, the goal is to make the currency easier to use without necessarily changing its purchasing power. Al-Mawsumi highlights that the removal of zeros from the currency doesn't result in any real change in the value of the currency itself. The same amount of money will still buy the same goods and services after the change. What shifts is the way people calculate and use that money. For example, if an item currently costs 1,000 Iraqi dinars, removing 3 zeros would mean it now costs 1 dinar. This makes accounting simpler, as people and businesses won't have to deal with such large numbers in everyday transactions. However, it's crucial to understand that this is purely a cosmetic change, a rebranding of sorts, rather than an actual increase in value. One of the main benefits of this approach, as outlined by Al-Mawsumi, is that it simplifies the accounting process. In countries where inflation has ballooned the value of goods into the thousands or even millions of units, it becomes difficult to manage the currency. Consumers and businesses alike may struggle with calculating large sums of money, and even simple transactions can become overwhelming. Removing zeros from the currency brings these numbers down to more manageable figures, which can reduce the complexity of daily financial transactions. Additionally, it can make the currency more presentable on the international stage, as foreign investors may find it easier to deal with smaller figures when engaging in trade and commerce. On the other hand, it's critical to note that this process of deleting zeros is not a cure for inflation or economic instability. As Al-Mawsumi points out, the purchasing power of the currency remains unchanged. The real value of goods and services in Iraq will stay the same, meaning that a loaf of bread will still cost the equivalent of 1,000 dinars, whether or not the zeros are removed. This can create a sense of disillusionment among the public, who may initially believe that the new currency represents an increase in wealth. In reality, deleting zeros is an imaginary shift that doesn't address the deeper economic issues at play, such as inflation, currency devaluation, and the cost of living. Ultimately, the removal of zeros from Iraq's currency could make day-to-day financial dealings easier for both consumers and businesses, but it's not a solution to the underlying problems within the country's economy. It's a tool for simplifying, not solving. While it may help in certain ways, the true test will be in whether the Iraqi government can stabilize the currency's value and bring inflation under control.